Come from a troubled past, the mind of a double standard. I write with the other hand, you might misunderstand them. Just take a closer look, you can see the bread upon us. I make history for a living, men of honor. What up, what up? Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome back, guys, to another episode, ladies and gentlemen, of The Potent Perspective, the only perspective that matters, right? Shouts to everybody else that out there, educating yourself, staying woke, staying relative, and staying proactive, right? So what if I told you that the idea of an alpha woman is a myth? Now, I know this topic is going to spark quite a bit of controversy because in our world today, it has been, displayed flamboyantly in a lot of rooms, a lot of conversation, mainly amongst women, as a way of forming some sort of sisterhood or to strengthen women. And while we're not against that, we also don't want to mislead younger women coming up in our world today. And a lot of times our young women are misled because they're emulating what they see on social media or on TV. And a lot of time it could be so destructive for the young female mind. And though we're not women, we just want to give our perspective on the subject. You know what I mean? In a world where, we are designed male to female, we both have positions of play. And we always want to keep that in mind to maintain structure, you know what I'm saying? Because the minute we start recreating our own idea of things and taking it far out of its origin is when we start to experience chaos on a major scale, right? Before we get into this, I just want to take a time to welcome my brother Ken Gamboa. Ken, how you feel, brother?
Like $1 billion right now.
You look sharp as hell. You feel me?
He has me looking sharp as hell.
Yeah. When you see
Just
this
got
man,
done today.
Yeah, when you see him, wipe him down. You feel me?
Make sure that rag is clean.
You feel me? You come right here with disposables, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, today it's a topic that I hear it so much, and as a man, as somebody who has been the head of household, has been impressed upon as a father, a leader, husband, it's very disturbing almost to the mind because you hear it so much, and we're not threatened by it, but at the same time, what is it? What is the science behind it? Is there any real merit to it? Or are we just throwing around words because it's a trend? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's complete nonsense. The idea that alpha female, alpha woman exists is nonsense.
It's crazy, yeah.
I think, to me, it's just this facade, this illusion, whether it be psychological or mental, that certain women try to place on themselves so that they could feel competent and equal to a man in a male dominated environment,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's an actual thing at all. That's just how I view things.
Sure.
Per se, because if you're a woman, you're a woman.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a man, you're a man. You lead in a position as a man. You lead in a position as a woman. The woman and the man is the title. The female and the male is the gender.
Of course.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that alpha female stuff, man, that's out of here for me. I don't agree with none of that. I don't think it's real at all. I think it's like a coping mechanism.
Yeah. And I know this probably would, rub a lot of nerves.
Oh, they're gonna be mad.
Yeah,
they're gonna be mad.
And the thing is,
it's gonna make a lot of business women mad. A lot of women that out there talking about they claim that they are such things. You're gonna make them real mad, Ash.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I want to make it clear because
Mm,
we love having open table discussion with people that are like minded. You know what I mean? So I welcome a constructive conversation around this table. You feel what I'm saying? Where we could talk and get to kind of give the woman who in her mind she identifies with this title. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
To give you an opportunity to explain what that means, because in a world, once again, like Ken said, where we was taught and raised within an environment that is mainly male dominated. Not saying that the female doesn't have a strong presence, because we always got to make that clear, because nowadays it's misconstrued. You know what I mean? It's like they, in some people's mind, well, mainly the women, they think that they're in competition, and it's like,
Shouldn't be.
oh,
Never was. Never will
no,
be.
we got two different roles. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And so I think it's good for us to make that clear, or speak on that, because it's in a place. Our world is in a place now where they've single-handedly tried to remove the head of household. They try to dismantle the male's position, right? And just just a father's presence. This goes back to the psychological effects of where the origin and the position of the male started, right? And what it stands for. And it's kind of sad, because you still have young women that's early teens. Sometimes these young kids from ages even as early as 2, 3, all the way up till she's 15. This is a crucial, sensitive point in a kid's life, and depending on what you expose this young woman to, you could either make a wife out of her, or prepare her for being someone's wife, or prepare her for success generally, but by instilling a right type of upbringing, or the type of teaching that you expose this young lady to, right? So I mean, I don't know, if they understand the damage. This is why it's been on my mind, and I just like, this is something that we just had to talk about. So
Mm-hmm.
before I get too distracted, I want to start by just proposing a question here. In your expression, right? What do you what do you define the term alpha? What is the definition of alpha to you?
Man, I'm gonna say this because I do have my. I could give you a reserved opinion, or I could give you like a book opinion,
Okay,
right?
so go ahead.
Because if we're gonna separate, so the like a from the worldly perspective of
Mm-hmm.
alpha, right? The leader of the pack,
Right.
the one who, for one reason or another, is the leader of the pack. He's the natural, like he just naturally has these characteristics and these traits mentally, characteristically, however you want to put it. He just leads the pack. Could be because he's just physically bigger. It could be
Yeah.
many different
Yeah.
things. But I think that that's what a worldly envision of alpha would be like. Now,
Right.
for my personal reserve,
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in that stuff.
Okay.
Personally speaking,
Okay.
I don't really look at the world through alpha, beta, zeta. All the
Yeah.
alphabets of the that we got in English
Right.
language. That to me is just labels. It's just these things that we try to label to better understand the world around us from a social perspective.
Uh-huh.
But honestly, I don't really believe in that stuff. I mean, within the animal kingdom, it does exist, but within people, man, I don't believe in that stuff. Honestly.
Okay. So that, as you said, that it's interesting, because that's the terminology. That's the definition that I identified with. Because when I first heard the term alpha,
Mm-hmm.
it was referring to the wolf. It was a
Right.
dire wolf, and he was known as the leader of the pack. He's the one that's going to take the pack on the mission to
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
to hunt and to
Yeah.
come back with it.
Right.
Or, for us to feed the pack. That was his job, right?
Yeah.
And he is present, like you say, it's a male dominated thing. Even if you was to, talk about the nature of how the wolves operate in that sense, female can't really stand in the presence of a real alpha male.
It's not really, that's the thing. Like, you got all these views of competition between men and women today in society. So, like we spoke about, well, she works in the corporate world,
Yeah.
and most corporate heads and leadership are what? They tend to be men sometimes.
Yeah.
Time to change, though. That's
Yeah.
not really a thing no
Yeah.
more. But because it's still male dominated, mostly the culture, this woman feels like she has to adopt certain male traits in order to compete and gain some type of respect
some type of
professionally.
respect. Right.
Now, that has an effect, as you know.
It does.
I'm pretty sure you've seen.
It does.
I've seen. I genuinely think that a woman that goes around claiming she's an alpha female is somebody that genuinely and deliberately would stay away from, especially romantically.
Oh, okay.
Because you shouldn't look at me like no competition. You're a woman. Your femininity is amazing.
And I'm not gonna lie, I can be a little bit objective when it comes to this, because, like I say, I'm still talking with the mind of, a little bit of optimism with regards to why they feel that this is a characteristic that they need to attain.
So you want to be understanding.
Honestly, it's funny because you could come across passive aggressive if you have alpha in you. But I'm subtle enough to welcome the topic, welcome the conversation, just to get perspective. But truthfully, I stand on this. I'm not confused about this at all. But I heard the term so many times. It's like, why would you feel like you have to step out of your natural essence to be validated or recognized? You know what I mean?
Because they don't see any value or strength within the femininity. Only in certain places and pick and choose. Like, again, you got to compete. Your workplace has you competing with males, so you feel like you got to adopt male traits in order to get respect.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that may be work, and it may and the environment may have you having to adopt certain traits to be successful professionally. But that's professionally, though. And you spend 8 hours in the day, right? 8, 9, 10, 12 sometimes hours at your job, 6 days a week, 5 days a week. You do that enough, eventually, you're not going to be able to turn it off no more.
It's true. And it would take away from some of your natural abilities as a female to me.
Natural characteristics of a female that men, traditionally masculine men, are going to find attractive. So it's like there must be a balance. Like, for example, in situations like you see a very masculine man, you ever see a very masculine man with a masculine woman?
Never seen it has to be the opposite. It's weird.
Even in, and there might be, I may be wrong from like an absolute perspective, but I think that the law still applies in general terms. Even if you look in same-sex relationships, somebody always a little bit more masculine than the other person.
It's true. It's a thing that it's a natural chemistry. And to this day, despite of how many changes they've tried to make, nothing touches a feminine woman with a masculine man. It's just nothing. It's like a plug. You got to have a negative and a positive for this energy.
That's exactly
to
right.
work. You feel what I'm
exactly
saying?
Right.
So it's like, and once again, for the women who identify with this title and feel like they, it's a title that they need to stand by, you're welcome to, get in touch with us. We'd love to have this conversation with you. And let's be able to have constructive conversation or constructive criticism, even though we might be have a different perspective. You know what I mean? And this way, we could possibly educate viewers on perspective. You know what I'm saying? So
it's not to be judgmental. It's not
no,
to be critical. It's just
no,
you entitled to your own perspective and opinions
of
about things
course.
and be able to share them outwardly. And then if you do not agree with an opinion, we'll give your perspective.
Of course, of course. And what I want to do real quick is I just want to break apart the term alpha woman. You know, and basically it's according to research, it's based on a discredited study of captive wolves and is often misapplied to humans, right? Whereas similar rigid hierarchy does not exist. And this has become like a almost like a sisterhood almost, right? Like or some sort of and like I say, we're talking about it, but I'm really wanting to understand in depth why it has got this type of attention to the degree you have women running around talking about boss bitch and all this type of stuff. And be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with you if you have your own success, you're established financially. But when you start to wave this title, it really takes away from the beauty of your natural essence, which is to be a woman. Right now, once again, I am not an advocate for telling a woman how to be a woman, because I'm a man. You know what I mean? But we're having this conversation entirely for perspective, you know what I mean? And just to understand it, right? So first thing I wanted to tap into is when you first heard the term alpha female, where did you encounter it? And what did it evoke for you at the time?
I can't really remember the first time I encountered the term, heard the term, but I think that I can think about the times that women have told me that they were alpha females and how they came off when they said it, and how it how certain things start to make sense after they said it. Or like, oh, that's how you seem unpleasant to be around. That's how you are showing certain characteristics because you've labeled yourself this in your brain and you have to live up to it. It's like when you think of a man, right, in a business suit or whatnot. Even then, there's some type of like customer service and there's some welcomingness.
Yeah.
But when the women that say that they're alpha women, etc., they're very short. You understand?
Really?
That's what I've seen. Very it's like they show more masculine traits, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that a masculine man is just unpleasant. That's not true. But I think that the women take, again, these traits that they think is alpha, right? If we're using that word, which again I don't really vibe with, but we're using that word, and they're applying it into their lives to better attract respect, but at the same time validate themselves and get validation from others. Because you're going around telling everybody that you're this and that. Why not just live it? Why do you got to let people know? What are you trying to like? Is it a cover up for something, for an insecurity that you got hiding within you? So basically, to answer your question, I know I went a little off there.
No, it's okay.
But the way that I felt was I want to get away from this person. I don't like, I want to be, if I want to be around somebody who is showing me, femininity, especially if we talking about our romantic position. Yeah, get away from me, I'm not trying to date another guy. I'm trying to date a woman.
Of course. And I think they don't understand that because, like you said, it's a strong need to feel validated. It's like when I've heard the term alpha woman, it's usually a female that is flawed.
Okay.
And I'm gonna explain why. She's flawed. She felt like it's usually personal. Somewhere along the line in her past, she's had an experience, an encounter with a particular type of guy who she really didn't know how to relate to. And a lot of times, even I go as deep as, she might have had a particular male figure in her life that allowed her to have this type of, forefront. Like she got a pass on a lot because the concept in that household was more or less, I'm here to protect you, but not to really teach you how to relate to a man, right? So you got those type of dads, and to me, I'm gonna take this time to say that could be destructive. If you're a father out there, I'm a father as well. When you're naturally a father, you're a father at heart. So I got boys, but if I had a daughter, my first initial goal would be to teach her or to prepare her for being somebody's wife. First off the muscle. You're not finna. I see a lot of, you got fathers that it was going around. I don't see it as much, but it was a time in our recent past. You had a lot of guys in pictures next to their daughters with AKs and going to prom. They got the FN. They're projecting to you that my job here is to protect this girl, but the whole time he didn't take the initiative. It wasn't a priority to him to teach her how to relate to him, first of all, because later on in the future you're going to be relating to guys. You're going to have to communicate with a guy. So baby girl, let me teach you the first things that's necessary in communicating with a man, right?
What you're saying is you got a lot of guys that could be good providers, good protectors, but not really good teachers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can't be a father absent either of those characteristics. I'm sorry. Because now what you've done is you have perpetuated a mindset that whoever guy gets into her life, his job is to do everything for her. And she is to just do nothing. Because that's the main thing that attracts a man to a woman, is actually a presence of servitude. Her not saying that she could be making more than money. To be honest with you, if we want to go there, she could be the one that is getting a huge bag too, or probably making more money than the guy. But it should never get to the point where the roles is misplaced. You know what I mean? And it complicates things, right? So me personally, I don't like the term because I think it takes away from your beauty, because you being an alpha, the need for it doesn't determine real success for you as a woman, and it definitely doesn't get you any real respect in a man's world. Now you got a few guys that we was listening to this. My boy put on this podcast today, and they was talking. There's a young lady on there. She's talking like she look at men as a business. And I'm just like, she doesn't realize how her value just dropped tremendously after this podcast. But generally it's unattractive, and it's just like, sweetie, all you gotta do is play a role. I'm gonna respect you. I'm gonna love on you every time because I'm attracted to that feminine side.
You got to see her. Some of them don't, like I said, they don't know how to turn the job off. It can make you it can make you successful at work. Like you needed to do this and be like this in order to move up the ladder.
Yeah.
To get better pay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or to get a better spot, this management position that you've been looking for, get promoted, etc. But when you don't know how to turn it off and you think that that's going to translate and bring you more success in your love life, that's absolutely incorrect.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a lot of them realize that. And I think there's another part that you didn't touch on, bringing up the fathers possibly not teaching their child, their little girl, on how to connect with a man. They just being good protectors and good providers.
Yeah.
But sometimes, what about the households that have no father? Where the mom,
True.
the little girl saw the mom having to gotta get it for herself.
Yeah, she plays the role of the dad and the mom.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now, well, I'm not gonna say the dad. She could play the role of the mom, right?
But that's what she would, she would have to fill the gap. Yeah.
And then now she seen her mom having to struggle, or she seen her mom make bad decisions on choosing the man that she, choosing men for her and letting her love life. Yeah. So now she grew up thinking that men can't do nothing for her ever.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what
I
I'm
think,
saying?
yeah, that's terrible. Oh my gosh,
Because
that's terrible.
that's another avenue
A
to why that
misconception.
mentality
Yeah,
can
yeah,
come.
yeah,
You
yeah,
feel what I'm
yeah. It's
saying?
true. Yeah, because I see that a lot too. Like, I don't know where this comes from. To me, it's a level of ignorance, but some, like he said, some women also feel the need, if they have a daughter, to the narrative they would try to push is, you should, I want to, you know show you how to be super independent, right?
Right.
But it's almost overly impressed on that child, like, the mom doesn't want you to have to ever need a man, and that's where I feel it could be.
Well, the mom, and on top of that, you saw your mom make terrible decisions, but you never saw a man be there for your mama, show up like she needs to.
So yeah, so
So now
basically,
you
yeah.
believe on your own
Right, right,
that
right, right, right.
men can
Yeah,
never do anything for you, and then
yeah,
you should never be able to depend on a man, and you got to come in with the sword, and do all of this chopping heads and stuff, because if you don't get it for you, then nobody else gonna give it for you. Men's only
yeah,
utility is what they can provide financially, and that's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's like a very toxic viewpoint and mentality
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
can grow up if you are exposed to a lifestyle like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And it's just, to sum that up, is it's got to be a balance. Once again, even if you're a single dad, as hard as it may be, my job as a single father to a young girl, um, would be to prepare her to be somebody's wife. Because I know once I do that job correctly, when she gets married that first time, she's not coming back home. This man is going to want to keep her for the rest of life. You know what I mean? And that would be the goal to me as a father. And I would say this humbly to encourage fathers. It's not so much about protecting her as it is about preparing her to be, to have a successful relationship, because she's gonna have relationships. But what you show your daughter, it can determine whether she has a negative or positive outcome. And I think that's a big deal. I mean, we could, you know, we could have different viewpoints as much as we want, but just look at the numbers outside. A lot of the young women now, because of what they was exposed to, um, depending on the household they was raised in, they could turn out that they're basically emulating what they were shown inside. And it took me a minute to understand that, because even in my relationship, I've had, a lot of head butting. We butted heads a lot. And it took me years before I'm realizing, like, stuff that's logical to us as men, I didn't understand. I'm just like, yo, this is crazy, but this is what you've been exposed to in your home.
Mm-hmm.
So you're only demonstrating what you've been exposed to. You know what I mean? I heard it in a song too. SZA said it. She's only doing what she know. And I was like, damn, I thought about that. I'm like, it's true. If you haven't been taught, how am I to expect you to emulate that of a wife when you wasn't shown that, right? So, and it's just something that I've noticed, but I think it's important that, you know the protection. I mean, I think that's given, right? As a dad, I don't know too many dads that daughters just feel unsafe with, and there's a few, right? I'm
It
imagining,
happens, yeah.
unless it's some sort of corrupt household. But generally speaking, if you're in a home with an alpha male or a leader, somebody that is entitled father, these things just don't happen. It's just a natural thing to protect your daughter. So I feel like it's unnecessary. But
Mm.
the next question I want to ask is, how would you define leadership in a way that goes beyond simple dominance or assertiveness?
That's a good question. Leadership is tough. I think that when we talk about leadership within a community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people, like just people outside, I think a true leader is appointed. You know, like you don't put yourself in a leadership position. You don't claim, like it's not a title that you just put on yourself. I think people lift you up to that position.
Right.
Within your household, I think a leader is another thing that's it's both. It's kind of given to you based off your family, your woman, right? And then later on your kids. And then later on you sustain that by displaying certain qualities and characteristics every single day.
Yeah.
Right. That keeps them in continuation of continuing to love you and follow you within that role of leadership.
Yeah.
But it all goes back to being boosted to that position by
okay.
living a certain way.
Okay, right.
You know?
So you gotta demonstrate leadership. Basically.
You gotta demonstrate leadership by being accountable.
Yeah, of course.
By, you know, being the truth.
Right.
To your people, being dependable. It goes back to being accountable, being somebody that has a balance. Like if things go, I can go out there with a sword or with my gun or with my bare hands, and I can handle whatever situation.
Business.
I go to war, but just like I could go to war, I could sit down, and if my woman needs love, if my children need love, I can be the softest teddy bear that they need me to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm emotionally in tune with myself as well. Yeah.
Do we know any, like in the public eye, any people that were males, like alpha males? I'm pretty sure there's a few alpha males out there that identify with the title and by way of action as well. This is a lifestyle form. I want to say there's a few, but
you got names, please.
Yeah, it's got to be a few.
I mean, if we talk about that, a perspective of alpha, I mean, who's the better example than ex-president Barack Obama? You know,
that's true.
He literally led an entire country. People boosted him to a position to where he led a whole country. His woman, you know, his family loves him. He's very much a family man. I think at one point, Michelle made more money than Barack, but she still stayed in pocket with him. She still treated him with respect, loyalty, submission. The money had no effect because of who he was as a man.
Honestly,
so I think that he would qualify.
He would qualify,
to fit in that category. Absolutely.
You know what? Let me see. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Well, why? Why would you say Dwayne?
Well, it's just a name that,
like The Rock, right? He's like, when I think alpha, right? I don't think physical.
Yeah, okay.
But he's a very physically imposing man, right?
Yeah, you're right. But you know what? I don't think you could say the word alpha absent physical.
You don't think so?
I don't.
But this isn't the animal kingdom, so
no, I know, but it has it partly has,
because there's people that will get other people to do their work for them. Like, I mean, so let's say I'm 5'2", right? But I got so much power that I could get somebody big to do something to you. Then I don't have to fight my physical battles for me. Who would you say is more alpha in that position? I'm giving that man a salary. I could make a break, you know,
I understand
a whole bunch. So like, what's real power, right?
Right.
To be able to influence somebody to do something for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Or is it to use your body to, you know, I guess your strength, your physical strength to make people do what you want them to do? And if that were the case, then why does Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, why aren't they 6'5" and built like 300 pounds?
Good point.
I mean,
it's a good point. It's funny when I hear the term alpha male, I automatically associate at least half of the term with some form of physical presence. Like,
nah, that's limited in my opinion. Again, I brought up Barack Obama. Is Barack a physically imposing man? He's not.
You have a point. Yeah, you have a point.
But in certain worlds, in certain social spaces, physical strength is very much celebrated. And physical strength can be something that boosts you in a position of alpha within that space only, though.
Okay, so look, let's go to this. Go ahead. Well, I don't want to cut.
No, I'm done. That's all I have to say on that.
There's a list, and I'm gonna just run through a brief list of names, and we just we could just, respond accordingly. But Jason Momoa, uh, Chris Hemsworth.
These are all physically big dudes.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
but I'm
but
saying
that's just saying
that's what they're listed as: Russell
Okay.
Crowe, Tom Hardy, Leonardo DiCaprio. While
Leonardo
Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah,
DiCaprio?
that's crazy.
Interesting.
He's not like a big dude, but to me,
okay.
he's listed as one of the alphas, right?
That's interesting.
Conor McGregor,
Okay.
Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an entrepreneur.
Right.
Right.
Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson. On the business political leader side, and that was the entertainers and entertainers and media figures, right?
Okay.
Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Elon Musk. These people are on the political side. Now, I'm not gonna lie. You gave a good point. It's not always, but even as we looking it up, they have a picture of a guy working out.
No, that's
it's
fine.
funny, but
That's
I'll tell you when I thought about, because even the wolf, he wouldn't be alpha if he was absent at the muscle.
But see, again, those are two different realms. We're human, right? The animals are animals.
Mm-hmm.
Back once upon a time, 4,000, 2,000 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
sure. I could see it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But even the kings and pharaohs weren't the most fit, muscular, figures. Yeah. At one point in time, if we were living in caves and everything, our society revolved around physical war and physically, like, in order for, there was a point in time in human history where, all right, I got this little pocket of crops.
Yeah.
My neighbor got a huge ass field,
Yeah.
I could go over there, beat his head in, and just take what he got. And nobody can stop me because I'm physically bigger than him.
I know, but that wouldn't be alpha though.
I mean, but from an animal's perspective, right? That is alpha, right? For example, with the lions in their packs, right? When the new lion come in, he knocks down the older lion. He can't compete with the younger lion string no more. He knocks him down. All the little babies that, the older lion has, he kills them all.
Well,
and then he takes all of his women.
Yeah. So the thing about even with the lions, you're right. We could identify alpha in that way. But what I've noticed, because I love documentaries as well, when the male set out to hunt, they only exert that type of muscle when it's time to feed the pack. They don't just run around bullying.
Sure, yeah.
So that's why.
But nobody tries to bully them either. You got to understand.
I know, but I'm saying we talking about the natural mission in which, and the reason why it's relative is because, while it's two different, worlds from animal to human, we're talking about it because it is used in the human world to identify a specific female. So you can't.
I don't think it should.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know you want to.
I don't believe in alpha and beta and all that stuff. I don't.
I know,
but for the purpose of this, I understand.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So we're talking about the term alpha woman, right? Sure. And so moving right along, what evidence from psychology or organizational behavior most challenge the idea of an alpha woman?
That's a good question.
Physiology, right? It's kind of like what we just touched bases on. Now, I guess in so many words, what are what is the appearance and the behavior trait looks like?
Again, just a woman who's not in her feminine space, who isn't displaying traditional feminine qualities,
or
displaying
aura,
masculine qualities with her actions, with her attitude. When you think of an alpha woman, you think of, again, this is my experience, stuck up, short, not warm or welcoming, very transactional to an extent. It's like, it's unpleasant. It's not, when I think of a feminine woman, I think the complete opposite of that. So
of course,
a couple of the traits that I noticed, and I may be wrong. This is not an absolute. I'm not saying that every woman who's ever opened her mouth and said she's an alpha female is like this. I'm sure that I'm not my perspective isn't an absolute perspective.
Right.
But that stuff is unpleasant, man.
It's unattractive, basically.
Super unattractive.
But look, right? When I heard the term, I'm gonna be honest, when I heard the term alpha female, like he said it, before he said it, I already seen what this female look like. She's basically thrives on the title.
Can I curse?
Yeah, go ahead.
She's just a bitch. She just acts like a bitch. Like she's a bitch to people. That's when you think of an alpha female. She's just a bitch to people. Right. You're like, like no.
Yeah,
you know?
It's almost distasteful, right?
No, it is. Distasteful. It is distasteful.
So
I'm glad you let me curse.
No, that's cool. This will be this our what our platform for. Yeah, let them have it. Yeah, yeah. That fade, hey, that fade is clean as heck, buddy. I've been ironing it down.
Your hands.
Fade cleaning them up.
Michelangelo over here with
yeah. But it's usually an unattractive presence because when I hear alpha, once again, I am envision a woman. I've seen this too. It's a woman that prides herself on the term boss bitch, right? This is these are the people that identify with the term alpha, boss bitch. She got shit under control. She, you know what I mean? She run the man. The man don't run her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the most delusional concept to me. But after you show out in front of the camera and you perform, you still need that muscle at home. And when I say that, you still got things around the house that you definitely it demands a man's presence, right? Now, I'm just saying, bro, we just talking.
Women need men and men need women.
Period.
There's no substitute
None
to
of
each
that.
other. There'll never be a substitute to each other. We need each other.
Yep.
You trying to implement this system of, I don't need a man. I could do what men can do, or I'm a man, I could do what women can do. That's nonsense.
Nope.
We need each other.
And it hurts our community because now we're giving birth to this type of mentality. And it's destructive for the young female minds. While we talking about this, I want to take a time to shout out all the beautiful feminine women across planet Earth, bro. You guys have no idea how thankful to the Most High we are to know that somewhere you are walking around in your highest esteem of your essence. You know what I mean?
You ain't really still recognizing the strength.
Of course. And you understand how incredible it is to exist in this world we live in, bro. Because like he said, I'm not attracted to a dude. You feel what I'm saying? Like when I meet a female, I need that touch. Mm-hmm. And I need it to be soft. You feel me? I like the term soft to the touch. That's how I want my lady to be. You feel what I'm saying? And it can't be nothing else, bro. Me and you not finna be in here bumping shoulders. Like, you know what I mean? Like we getting ready to, to do burpees together. Like, no, it can't happen. It's unattractive. Now, by all means, if you've achieved your success and you had to get it the hard way, a woman, by all means, I salute you. But let's not get the roles misconstrued. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, an alpha woman who identifies with this, she probably is going to want to take charge, which initially is going to end up in her being single because a real solid man just not finna stick around and just...
Or the woman is acting masculine. She wants a masculine man. The man is not attracted to masculinity.
Of course.
So what she's going to attract? She's going to attract a more feminine man. But she's not going to respect the feminine man.
Nope.
So she's going to be miserable.
Disrespectful.
Either way.
Yeah, right.
She's going to be miserable either
way. She's going to be miserable.
And
the thing is, the 9 times out of 10, these type of women that think this way, they don't really have a general respect for men. Just pay attention. A lot of times, she's going to propose challenge at every opportunity she gets. She wants to be heard. If it don't go her way, it's not going to happen right now. Like I said, there has to be some form of compromise in relationship for it to work. There has to be opposites for it to attract. It's just natural science. We don't need a degree to understand this. And if you feel like you want to object, try that out and see how that works for you. You feel what I'm saying? So once again, for like we just said, I'm trying to understand it, but I don't get it. I don't really understand why it even exists, because it's taken away from our women slowly but surely, one female at a time. Every time she looks at, you could be outspoken. Like, for instance, Michelle Obama, she was outspoken. She took that stage. When it's time for her to speak, she spoke with confidence, but she didn't lose her sense of femininity, not one time. You never heard her lose her sense of respect for Obama, not one time. Now, I'm not saying they're not human beings. I'm pretty sure they have had some differences.
Of course.
But they understand the roles. While we talking about this, is another couple that is interesting to me that I used to be a fan of. I'm still a fan, but I find it very interesting. And it was said, I don't know if it's true, but allegedly, Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats never had one argument in their whole relationship.
I believe that.
That is insane to me, bro.
I believe that.
Dog, that's insane to me. And if you've watched Swiss and Alicia, their relationship is one of the most unison relationship displayed.
I think there's a difference.
Okay.
You could have disagreements, but you don't have to have arguments behind those disagreements. Like, I'm sure they have developed a system to where they could talk to each other, not talk at each other.
Of course.
Talk to each other.
Man, you know how blessed you gotta be to walk into a relationship like Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys. I'm only saying that because there's two sides to this, right? Because while arguments can seem to raise tension in the home and sometimes have a traumatizing effect, there's a positive to having an argument in a relationship as well. Because at the end of an argument, there's only table for one thing, and that's a resolve, some sort of resolve.
Bring balance back into it. This is just a momentary hiccup, a bump in the road.
Right.
From a long road that we want to take together.
Right.
Why would we let that little, hazard, that little pothole
interfere,
derail everything?
Everything, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And a lot of times, once again, because of the lack of balance, if you have in relationships where your significant other goes to social media for his or her source of, information,
it could be terrible information out there.
It could be very destructive. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I want to say that's a female thing, but there's probably some guys out there
some
too.
Guys now too. I think that originally, men have recently, in the last, I want to say 5-6 years, recently start talking about things openly on the internet.
Right.
I think that it's like when you look at the internet, when you look at social media, etc., women have always been easy. They've always been more good at talking about things, venting and all that stuff. So that's why you hear about a guy, this guy wasn't this guy wasn't that, the terrible dating experiences, etc. But now men have recently started talking about their experiences.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of harder for a lot of people to accept what men go through or the things that men have to share about, just things in general, because so used to women talking about it. You know what I'm saying? But you had brought up Swiss and Alicia Keys. Let's use the other bend of the spectrum. Will and Jada.
I ain't gonna lie.
Do you think Jada, would you consider Jada, right? Because we talking about the subject, an alpha female in that relationship?
That's a good question. Now, I want to say no, because she has a soft side.
Is she running things in that relationship though, right? If she says jump, that man's gonna say how high, baby.
So what I would say there in that situation is not necessarily giving alpha to me. It's giving, nigga, put your pants on to Will. You know what I mean? Like, you feel what I'm saying though? Like let's be honest. You got some type. I'm gonna line this shit up one time, right? So you got relationships where, you got a female and she wants to challenge the dude. You know what I'm saying? So she want to go against everything that he might say or suggest or what I mean, initiate. Man, sometimes you gotta put your shoes on, put your pants on, and put this chick where she need to be with love. You could really mandate some shit with love if you're that man, right? It's just in you. It's not like you gotta perform. This is in you, bro. Stand up, let her know. Shout out to Moneybag Yo, bro. I gotta give light to this, right? There's a song he got called "I Got Time Today," right? And in the song he says, "I cut a chick off because she spoke on the business." Bro, I identify with that line 1,000%, because basically what he's saying in so many words is, soon as you get to talking out of pocket, I'm gonna straighten you out right there so you understand. No, ma'am, you don't run nothing in here at all. Now that's granted. You are head of household. You're actively playing your role. Like me, speaking from experience, I'm the head of my castle, and I can say that with my chin up. I'm the one who pay the bills. I make sure stuff, is here. I provide. I lay it down. If it needs to be laid down, I protect by default. Like, I'm going on. My oldest son he'll be 18 in October. Never once in their entire life they could ever say you would ever hear them say they was unsafe around me, ever. No, and I speak for my lady as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's ever been around me, she'll tell you herself, not one time has she ever been, disrespected or she felt unsafe or unprotected. So that these things are a given. And I have to say that because that's my role. So when stuff get out of line in my relationship, and you have to be logical as well. We're not talking about the guy that's abusing his lady or, overexerting his position, over abusing his position. We talking about the man that understands his role, stand firm on what his position is, under God, and following that assignment to a T. You know what I mean? Flaws and all. You feel what I'm saying? So we talking about that type of guy. These are the type of men that I would say, bro, stand up, bro. You know what I mean? Soon as she get out of pocket, sometimes, a woman wants to be put in her place. I'm gonna be honest with you. I seen that too.
Me too.
Yeah, they look at that like, all right, this nigga is taking charge. And that's respected to me.
It's gonna be like a little test, and as a man, you may want to avoid. You can't really avoid the test.
Can't.
A woman's job sometimes is going to be not to hurt you, but to she wants to see, hey, am I still in good hands?
Right.
Can he still handle what life has? It goes above. It's like, can he handle what life has to throw at us?
Yep. And look, it's crazy. I know some. I know some chicks that, this is probably sound crazy, but there's women out there that been turned on in the past by seeing two niggas fight.
Now I'll say this though, if she's doing stuff that is getting you to a position where you have to physically put your hands on her, I think that you should leave that situation altogether.
Now we're not talking about that at all, right?
Yeah. Like in that situation, it's best that you leave because, one moment of passion, one moment of where you just see red
emotion
could land you in a position where you incarcerated for 6 years or you got a record now that could derail you from where you want to go in life, from your career, etc. Yeah. So in that situation, if a person's pulling you, that's toxic, and that's you should pull the plug on that immediately.
Of course. But what we talking about, at least what I'm referring to is, a lot of women are attracted to a man that takes charge. For some reason, when she see you stand up, she know, all right, I'm in the presence of a real man. I gotta give him his respect, and I gotta get out of his way. And it's nothing. it's not that she's in fear. It's just she understands what his role is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go a step further. Some women, they're attracted to that alone. There's a thing about that it strikes like, man, it gives you a chill to know you you in the presence of a dude that's you're not gonna have it.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's
So
right.
once again, it's with moderation, but it needs to be present, because if more of it was present, you wouldn't have all of this garbage about alpha women running around throwing this word up in the air like, where'd you get this from? This is what I seen a video, and I ain't gonna lie, I got it. I might have to get this video some light, but this woman is talking crazy in the video. She's basically, if you hear the tone, it would make you get chills as a man, because you like the audacity of this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, because you like, bro, where did you get this from? And you could tell in the video that it's personal. Some dude, apparently, what it seemed to me like a dude she had been attracted to. And the dude might have shut her down. He might not have given her the chance. And you could hear in the tone of her voice, she wanted to take a shot not only at him, but his entire manhood. And women have that potential, which is, it can be a scary situation, because you could have a difference with a female and immediately she go to, oh, that's why you ain't got your sex game weak, or she goes straight to the bedroom. You feel what I'm saying?
There's no such thing for a woman that's going too far. That's the one difference.
Right. But
when a woman want to go for you, she knows exactly. She's surgical about it.
She knows what to do.
She knows we're gonna trigger you.
Yeah, she knows what to do. And while that may work, I guess in some cases,
it shouldn't.
But it shouldn't.
Reality says
something different, right? So, generally speaking, man, it's a thing where we try to, we basically tolerating at this point, to be honest with you, because I hear so much of it. Even when I can't unhear what I just heard in this video. It's crazy. Like, she is talking like she refers to men as a business, and she keeps business around her.
They're only good for one thing only, and that's business, putting money in her pocket, but they have no other use. Men are just objects to be used. There's no other form of substance that you can find in a man. That's super, super toxic.
And to give light on the show we're talking about, it's called Sharp and Blue. Sharp and Blue on No Jumper.
Yeah. On No Jumper. That's
the girl's name is Jasmine.
Jasmine Blue, something like that.
Yeah, Jasmine. Yeah, Blue Jasmine, right?
Blue Jasmine. There you go.
Y'all probably know what she's about, but she's basically saying, I don't really have respect for men.
A gold digger.
Yeah, she's a gold digger.
Straight up and down.
She knows nothing about
a square
servitude.
Prostitute.
Yeah, she don't know nothing about playing her role. She probably just got body counts, absent relationships. I don't know, but
she said she didn't get Future none when she met him.
Yeah. And to her defense, now when I look at females like this, right, and I hear these females talk, I feel bad for her. And Ken is like, let them have it. You know what I mean? But I feel bad for her, because in my mind, like I said before, I'm realizing that this is a young lady who was not shown the way. Like, somebody was absent in her life.
Yeah, somebody went wrong. They didn't fulfill their role.
They didn't fulfill their role. So now you have a product of unfulfillment and hurt. You know what I'm saying? And long-term damage, because if she views men now, it's two things I see could happen. For sure is STD, for sure, because if she's gonna allow men to pay for it, like dude say, a nigga gonna put his whole ball sack on your forehead, you know what I mean, and teabag you, you know what I mean, because you for the money. So you gotta understand, y'all gotta understand your roles, and I would highly recommend, you know what I mean, finding role models that emulate that of female. a woman, you know what I mean, a lady. These things, they're attractive. And I know, some people want to argue, well, we all not born to be ladies. That's fine. But don't expect successful relationships and masculine men when you adapt this mentality. You know what I mean? Some of y'all think like I could just meet a nigga and he gotta accept me as I am.
Nope.
That's a terrible mentality to
No,
have.
no, not at
You feel
all.
me? If you don't understand how, being able to compromise, the importance of compromising in a relationship, you're an epic fail waiting to
Or
happen.
the excuse of this is just the way I grew up.
Yeah.
Man, come on, man.
It's crazy.
You could change any time if you
Yes,
really put in the
indeed.
work. It might take a lot of
Yes,
work.
indeed.
It might take sacrifice, but that excuse stopped being an excuse when you become an adult.
Of
and you
course.
know better and you've been exposed to different
Of course.
ways of thinking. I mean, just because you grew up this way don't mean that it has to define you for the rest of
No.
your life. That's
And while we're on the subject, this is only applicable to the female that wants to have a relationship. The female who's objective in the future somehow has to do with love. It surrounds being loved, being in a long-term relationship, being by this, alongside a real man. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that she looks up to for leadership and things. The females that not about that, this is not for you. It's cool. You probably need to, you know what I mean, go look at the Brat or somebody. You know, shouts to the Brat, bro. So the Brat is one of the finest studs I've ever seen in my life, right? Like respectfully, she's probably one of the hottest studs I've seen.
Not you trying to knock down a stud head.
But I'm gonna keep it G.
Go ahead.
I would lay something down behind. I ain't gonna lie. If I'm being honest, she is a woman to me. So nah.
I mean, yes, she's still a woman.
What?
You know?
She will get clapped. You know what I'm saying? Because if y'all go back, y'all check her out if you want to. The Brat was fire. You know what I mean? Despite her perspective and her being a stud, she's married and things like that. Niggas was on that, like for real. Like she was attractive enough that she was on niggas to-do list. You feel me? Like for real. But generally speaking, man, is this, as we say, we trying to understand where did this mindset come from, and what's the meaning behind it from a woman's perspective? Because there's a few women that strongly identify with this, and I'm eager to know, how has your success rate been in relationships? And where does the man stand in the relationship with you? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm pretty sure it's a few people that this is gonna rub a nerve like a mug. But
I'm sure. I mean,
y'all the ones we waiting to hear from, right? But the next question I want to ask, can you share an example from your experience where collaboration or emotional intelligence led to a better outcome than a dominant approach would have? That's a tricky question, but
I mean, I could think of a situation where I was at work at this time and I was working with somebody who was being rather unpleasant. And for whatever reason, I was a target. Whatever the reason. The reason doesn't matter, but this is the lesson. Taking that situation where I could have let my ego win, I could have let my pride, win and try to been right, try to been justified and saying certain things. Instead of doing that route, I put my ego to the side, put my pride to the side, and just instead of showing a rough side, I showed a soft side.
Okay.
Right? Even though I was not wrong, I made it seem as if that person was right, because what I had to lose was not as much as what I had to win, as far as my ego is concerned.
Okay.
So putting all the pride to the side and just letting that person have it. So one thing I learned, and maybe this might apply to when I'm trying just to end it as far as answering your question. Sometimes as a man, and then especially when you're dealing with a woman, you don't have to win every single time. That makes
Of
sense.
course, right. And my boy is on his suave shit, so he be with me. Yeah, I get it. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, he on his
Like you may see it as a win as a man because you from a logical perspective. I'm not saying women ain't logical. Let me
yeah.
clarify that.
Mhm.
But in that moment, her emotions may be flaring up to a point where, as a man, you may know that you're right. You may be like, yeah, but this is logical. Like, of course I'm right.
Yeah.
But men and women think differently.
Yeah.
She's not thinking of it like you as a man. So to just let her have it, hey, we all good now.
And this would be, I understand exactly what he's
I
saying,
know
right?
you
He on his
understand.
Aryan Pear shit, but I'm gonna let him do his thing. You know what I mean? But the thing is, basically, that's for only a particular female. More than likely, it would apply to a female you're interested in or having had a relationship
Well,
with.
no, and I mean even like the first example I was using, that was a work situation.
But I'm saying, did you? It sounds like you had to have liked her in some way.
No, none of the way. But you know what
Oh,
though? I want to keep making my money. I want to keep going to work in peace. You know what
oh,
I'm saying?
was she in leadership, like a supervisor or something?
She had more influence and pull within that work environment.
Oh, okay. So well, yeah. So
So
you
it was
so you
more to my
basically playing your
benefit.
role.
Yeah, to my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
benefit.
Nah, I get it. I get it. Nah, I
I'm
understand
not gonna
that.
fuck up the back for
Nah,
my ego.
nah, but what
And
I'm
I'm not being demeaned or disrespected to a point where it's too much, right?
of
Because
course.
there's of course a line, and there
Yeah,
should
yeah,
always
yeah.
be a line of limit. But I'm just saying, in that moment, I'm just like, hey, it's not worth the scoop, you know?
Yeah, like sometimes, you give a chick a pass. Like I ain't gonna lie. Um, I remember in barber college, and we getting ready to wrap this up. I remember in barber college, I was in on I think the second platform at the time, and I ain't gonna lie, it's heavy testosterone in barber college, bro, because it's really male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Really niggas from the hood
Pretty much.
trying to, master a craft and make something out of themselves, right? But a lot of times, it's, you're dealing with street niggas, like you dealing with
Most of the
dudes
time.
off the street. So,
Mm-hmm.
but in barber college, I remember they had a few females that wanted to be barbers as well, or get their license, and they had a few studs. And I'll never forget, I've seen a stud. She tried to, challenge a dude. Now, the dude she tried to challenge, this nigga's a street nigga. You know what I mean? He not that type of dude to play with. And the thing about us is, man, I want to say this while we're on this subject. With real solid men who stand on what they stand on, we don't really got to say too much. Like I've seen this in my experience here. You know what I mean? It's like an unspoken language when it comes to respect with us. You know what I mean? Like it's an energy that a real man possesses that, it signals to you, I'm only gonna go this far with this dude.
I mean, shit. At the end of the day, a woman's sense of drawing lines of respect is a lot different than us men because
It's true.
if you with men, there's always a threat of violence.
Of course, of course.
You go too far, you're gonna be throwing hands at a certain
Right,
point.
right,
Somebody gotta go.
right.
With women, they don't really got that. And because why? Because with men, at least we raised, you don't put your hands on a woman unless
Right.
your life is threatened or something like that.
Right.
But just based off somebody talking crazy to you, you ain't really gonna put your hands, depending on the environment, because man, some real street cats, they don't give a damn about none of that stuff.
No.
They'll knock a girl upside her head and rearrange her teeth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They'll do that. But with guys, if I just walk up and talk crazy to a dude, he most 9 times out of 10, he gonna be throwing back.
It's going. So, and that's just, a tip. That's a general response that it's gonna happen amongst men, right? But my point was, we have a silent understanding when it comes to respect. Like niggas know, okay, boom, I gotta get this man his space. I gotta give him respect off the muscle. Them two things is a given, right? Now, unless he displayed that of weak behavior, feminine behavior. And still, me personally, as a solid individual, I'm going to still give him some sort of respect because he's still a human being, right? Whatever he identifies, that's on him. But as long as he respects my square, we don't have no problem. And that's kind of the understanding we got amongst men. Now, with the women, even if I'm dealing with an alpha male, I'm emotionally stable enough to know, okay, I have to put her in this bracket. So me and her would never have a verbal exchange. It would never get there because I already know your position or what you're trying to attain with these type of attributes you displaying. Like I'm not threatened by it at all. Why? Because I'm a solid man. I wake up like this. I'm comfortable like this. You feel me? I don't have to pretend to be in these shoes that I wear because it's comfortable. This is how we step. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is when you develop the mindset of I want to be an alpha woman, to me, that's equivalent to a dude trying to walk in heels. It's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like the minute you, as a dude, right now, you put on a pair of heels, immediately upon standing, you're going to feel a immediate sense of discomfort because it's not natural. You feel what I'm saying? It's not a normal thing. And to me, that's how I read, when I hear the term alpha woman, because it seems like you're trying to embody, the essence and presence of a dominant male as a female. It just doesn't. It's an imbalance, a chemical imbalance. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, man, we're gonna wrap this up. I just want to take the time to say, Ken, man, I appreciate you for just being here, bro.
I appreciate you for having me here, for sure.
Keep kinging, keep standing on your business. Like you told me, the worst you can get from a chick that's not interested is she's not interested.
It's wonderful.
You feel what I'm saying? What that does initially is doesn't waste not a minute more of your time, and you can keep it pushing, right? I want to just take this time as well to give you guys some information. The name of the platform is The Poem Perspective. You could YouTube it, ThePoetin, Perspective, Perspective. And you'll see the emblem of the wolf, you know what I mean? And you know that's such. Now, I go by the name Hash Potent. I am your host. You want to give them your Instagram?
Don't have one.
Oh, you don't?
No.
What happened to the Instagram?
But if y'all want to go look at my YouTube channel, I got a little small YouTube channel at the moment. It's
soon to be colossal. He trying to downsize it, but go ahead. Yeah.
So you got to keep people like this around you that boost you.
Of course.
Ken, my name Ken, and then my last name Gamboa, Gamboa. So just put that. That's the name of the channel, and the little avatar is just gonna be my initials, KG. And what you'll see up there is, some videos of me in front of the camera talking, giving game out there for all my brothers and my sisters out there that, are game hungry. You'll also see some motivational video pieces breaking down, figures, athletes, entertainers, whoever you think is a great individual, breaking down their greatest characteristic. I just dropped a video on Tupac Shakur and the power of authenticity, and it being somebody who is an advocate, right, for social justice as well, to being contributing to your community, basically. And then I also do interviews up there, for those of you that have a little bit of trouble going up to strangers or just want to see what it's like to authentically have a general, organic conversation with somebody. I like to walk up to strangers around the city and just sit down for about 45 minutes to an hour and just talk to them. So I appreciate you, Hash, for giving me that pleasure.
For sure. And this brother is good at that, bro. I'm not going to lie. I've witnessed it myself. This nigga is the epitome of if if being rejected and handling it like a G was a person, and not saying he got rejected, but he's not
Oh,
scared of it at all.
or get
He's
rejected so many times, but rejection don't matter.
right.
You want to get rejected because you don't want you don't want to spend time with somebody that don't want you.
Of course,
it's one of the worst feelings of all time.
Yep. You don't want to get rejected, but you don't want somebody to waste your time.
It don't matter to get rejected.
Right. It doesn't matter. Right.
I'm sure you don't want to.
Right.
You see that person, you want them in your life.
Yeah.
But if they turn you down,
it's not
great,
a big deal.
because like you said, you don't want your time wasted.
You don't want your time wasted. And for that, I gotta salute them, because me personally, it's been a challenge that I've had most of my life, even when I was young. It's like a fear of being rejected, and I don't. Some of us guys got it, some don't. Some of us, we learn to get over it, but for some of us, it's like a shattered glass to us. You know what I mean?
You get told no so many times that skin gets so thick.
It gets thick.
Yeah,
right.
That's the only way. Like I said, I don't care how handsome you are. I don't care how much money you think you have as a man. You gonna get rejected.
Yeah. And now, from a mature point of view, I think I could handle it. We try not to get too rejected all the time, but I could handle it a lot better now, because I'm like, you know what, I got to take that L to the chin. You know what I mean? Because you're not gonna win everything, right? So, but the other thing is, we're just starting back our run with our show, and I want to take this time to welcome any type of financial support that the viewers are willing to, render to us. There's going to be a link, for you guys to donate whatever you feel on your heart to bless us with. We accept all of that. We are not above that. I'm sorry. We still got to get cameras. We eventually would like to end up having a team, you know what I mean? And possibly create a production out of this, you know what I mean? So we're trying to go all the way official with this. So as much support as we can get, we welcome it. We need it. You feel what I'm saying? Also, my Instagram is #potent1. You know what I mean? And I live that every syllable of that name. #potent, HASHPOETINTHA1. You could look that up anywhere. You're gonna see, probably pictures pop up. You know what I mean? I have been a barber for over a decade now in the city of Houston, so you could basically Google me at this point. You know what I mean? But other than that, I appreciate you guys for the time. And last but not least, I welcome anybody out there that identify with this topic to hit me up, reach out to me, or Ken. And, if you guys want to come sit and have a conversation with us, we are open to it. You know what I mean? This is the Potent Perspective. And around here, the perspective gets potent. You feel what I'm saying? So y'all welcome, to get in our inbox and get with us. You know what I'm saying? We are just getting started. This is just the beginning. You're going to get ready to see a lot of us. I'm telling you right now. You know what I mean? A lot of me, a lot of my guy right here. It's going to happen. So until the next time, I appreciate y'all. Much love. And keep your perspective potent, you heard? Peace.
Your Honor, I speak on behalf of the lost, on behalf of the low nigga trying to get a Porsche.